The Mummy's Curse Awakens. Karmic recap, Universal Monsters 2 Karo. The woman leans her head against the car window, a frown deepening on her face. They've dug up the bones of a dead princess and put her on display in the Karo Museum, she remarks with disdain. I thought the British were supposed to be civilized. Later, as the car pulls up to a grand building, she sighs. Do we have to go to this dull party, Helen? I can't stand the thought of looking at that poor girl's remains while eating crumpets, a woman's voice responds. Unfortunately, we must put in an appearance for Dr. Muller's sake. Inside the museum, the woman continues her conversation. He's dull, too, she mutters. Oh, don't be cruel. I'm grateful to have a friend to stay with in Cairo, even if he's my grandfather's age. And a little dull. Another woman sighs. I can't fend off my mother's quest to see me married forever. I'm 26. My youth is nearly gone, according to her. A man chuckles. Ha, you're as old as that mummy they dug up, she replies. At least I can spend the winter in Cairo before she drags me back to Thebes and wedded bliss. Inside the museum, 3 women whisper amongst themselves, eyes fixed on Helen. That's Helen Grosvenor, isn't it? One says. Don't look, she's strange, another replies. The third chimes in. She hears voices. Helen approaches a glass case containing the mummy of Princess Anki-Zen-Amen, her expression thoughtful. A voice whispers in her mind, I don't hear voices. Another voice responds, You hear one voice, she replies. Only you. That doesn't seem particularly strange to me. As she gazes at the mummy, she feels an odd connection. She feels familiar. A nearby bust of the princess catches her eye. She looks a little like us, doesn't she? Helen's eyes widen slightly, a strange recognition dawning on her face. She does. A man approaches Helen. Admiring the princess. I discovered her, you know. I'm Frank Wemple. You're Helen Grosvenor, aren't you? My father is friends with Dr. Muller. Helen, her gaze still fixed on the mummy, replies, I feel sorry for her. Frank asks, sorry for her? Why? Helen retorts, it doesn't seem right, digging up a woman and putting her on display like this. Frank waves his hand dismissively. Well, she is dead. I don't think she'd mind anymore. Helen's eyes narrow. Don't the bodies of the dead deserve their dignity? What if it was a member of your family on display like this? Frank bristles, his voice defensive. It's for science, you know. Egyptian royals were buried with everything. Their clothes, jewelry, personal items. Her tomb was like a window into ancient times. We've learned so much already. Frank relents slightly. But you're right, it's no way to treat a woman of her stature. I feel badly about it. He pauses, fiddling with his tie. After we opened her sarcophagus, I admit I fell a little in love with her. Helen raises an eyebrow, a smirk playing on her lips. You fell in love with a dead woman, a voice whispers in her head. This boy is mad. Frank continues, oblivious. A little, yes. Anki-Zen-Amen was the daughter of Egypt's pharaoh and a priestess of Isis. According to what we found in her tomb, she lived an incredible life before she died. He turns to Helen, a hopeful look in his eyes. And she's beautiful, don't you think? Frank chuckles nervously. I'm making a good first impression. Dr. Muller approaches, his expression concerned. Helen, here you are. I've been wondering where you've gone to. Helen offers a quick apology. I'm sorry, Dr. Muller. I've been distracted. Dr. Muller's father interjects, a wry smile on his face. Distracted by my son, I see. He's the one who should be apologizing. Frank steps forward, a hint of embarrassment in his voice. Sorry, father, and sorry to you too, Helen. Dr. Muller waves his hand dismissively. All's forgiven. Helen, did you see the mummy? Helen nods curtly. Yes, Dr. Muller beams. The Egyptian historian who helped Frank discover her tomb is here tonight, Ardith Bey. We're on our way to meet him. He begins to lead the group away, but Frank lingers, turning back to Helen. I'll leave you then. Will you join us? I'd love to talk more with you. Helen shakes her head, her voice firm. Another time. She turns and walks away, leaving Frank behind. As Helen walks away, Dr. Muller's father puts a hand on Frank's shoulder. Perhaps you can come by my house tomorrow and take Helen out for lunch. Frank's eyes light up. If she'll see me, I'd like that very much. Dr. Muller chuckles, shaking his head. How like my son to find romance among the mummies. He turns to the rest of the group. Now where's this historian fellow you wanted us to meet? A deep voice calls out from the shadows. I am here. A tall figure emerges, his face obscured by darkness. In the silence, he announces, I am Ardith Bey. Inside the museum, a guest declares, the party's over, finally. As Helen exits the museum, another guest remarks, that silly boy in the room with the mummies, wasn't he terrible? Helen's companion responds. I liked him, actually. As Helen steps into the car, her companion comments, You liked that miserable creature? Helen responds, He wasn't so bad. He had a nice smile and he listened when I had something to say. Elsewhere, Ardith Bay kneels in a dimly lit room, poring over an ancient scroll by the light of a flickering flame. He whispers, Anki Zenamen. In the car, Helen looks troubled. Someone is speaking. Her companion responds, I hear it too. Ardith Bay's voice echoes, Anki Zenamen. Suddenly, Helen cries out, He's calling me, he's calling me. She leaps out of the car, her eyes wide with a strange mixture of fear and fascination. Drawn by an unknown force, Helen walks with a newfound determination, the echoing words, Anki Zenamen, guiding her steps. She seems lost in a trance. As she nears a large stone door, a new name whispers in her mind, Imhotep, Imhotep. Driven by this irresistible impulse, she pounds her fists against the door, her eyes fixed with a singular purpose. Frank arrives at the scene. Helen, are you all right? The lavender shawl lays discarded behind her. Frank watches, mystified, as Helen collapses in his arms. Inside the darkened museum, a guard makes his rounds, the beam of his flashlight cutting through the gloom. Who's there? The museum is closed. Unbeknownst to him, a sinister shadow stretches across the floor, a clawed hand reaching toward the ancient scroll. Suddenly, the guard is attacked by a shadowy figure, his flashlight knocked from his grasp. The figure's face is shrouded in darkness. The guard screams in agony as blood splatters. Helen lies unconscious on a chaise lounge, muttering in her sleep. Imhotep. Frank looks at Dr. Muller. What did she say? Dr. Muller replies grimly, a name I haven't heard for 10 years and hope to never hear again. Frank is confused. Imhotep, that's an Egyptian name, isn't it? Dr. Muller responds, It's the name of a mummy I discovered on a dig in 21. Do you remember my old assistant, Ralph Norton? Frank grimaces as a vision of Ralph Norton, straitjacketed and laughing maniacally, flashes before him. I do. He's the one who went mad during that dig season. Dr. Muller's expression darkens, and the mummy we discovered, Imhotep, vanished. The last thing Ralph said was that it walked away. It broke his mind in half. That mummy was 1,000 years dead, but somehow it vanished the night we dug it up. Helen awakens, disoriented. Where am I? Frank reassures her. Helen, it's Frank. You're at my house. She looks around, confused. How did I get here? I don't remember anything. Frank explains. Frank and I stayed late at the museum. We saw you trying to get into the building after the gala. Helen gasps. You fainted when I asked if you were all right. We've let Dr. Muller know where you are, don't worry. Helen's eyes widen in panic. The museum, I don't remember going back there. Frank gently takes her hand. Hey, it's all right, you're safe here. Helen hesitates, then asks, Please, can you show me the powder room? I want to freshen up. Frank nods. Of course. Inside the powder room, Helen stares at her reflection, her voice a whisper of confusion and distress. What happened to us? I don't know. I don't remember the last hour, but I remember other things. A second voice echoes in her mind. What other things? Helen trembles. I remember a feeling of love, of being loved by a man. I can't remember his face, but I remember how I felt about him. The second voice rises in a panic. I was taken from him. I fell into darkness, into death. It was the other half of my soul, and I lost him. Who was he? Helen clutches her head, overwhelmed by the intensity of the emotions. Please, what you're feeling is too much. She wraps her arms around herself, seeking comfort. SHH, we'll figure this out. The second voice persists. There was a voice that spoke before we blacked out. Do you remember that? Helen nods slowly, her eyes widening in realization. Yes, a man speaking to us. Helen clutches her head, her eyes wide with fear. He said a name over and over, but it wasn't our name. The second voice responds, filled with dread. There was power in his voice. I felt like we had to obey. Helen's voice rises in panic. Did he make us return to the museum? How can he command us to do things and then we don't remember? The second voice whispers, to take over our body like that. Helen, I'm afraid. Helen bursts into tears, her voice trembling. I'm afraid, too. At that moment, Dr. Muller's voice calls from outside the door. Is Sir Joseph at home? A manservant replies. Yes, sir, that's Dr. Muller. Behind the powder room door, Helen strains to hear the conversation unfolding outside. Dr. Muller exclaims, Murdered? How? Sir Joseph responds grimly, We don't know. The guard's body was found in the room with the mummy princess, and it was as though the very life had been drained out of it. Dr. Muller's voice rises in alarm. There's more. This was found next to the body. Do you recognize it, Sir Joseph? Frank gasps. Is that the Scroll of Thoth? Sir Joseph scoffs. The Scroll of Thoth is a myth, some ancient relic that supposedly brings the dead back to life. Utter nonsense. Your father might think otherwise. Tell your son what you found on that dig in 1921, Sir Joseph. Sir Joseph continues, his voice laced with bitterness. A casket of Amun-Ra, locked with a curse. It was buried with the mummy Imhotep. I warned you not to open that casket, but your fool assistant didn't listen. I believe we found the Scroll of Thoth inside and went mad when he read it. Behind the door, Helen whispers to herself, her voice tinged with urgency. We are facing some ancient evil come to life, and the scroll is the source. We must destroy it as soon as possible. A knock sounds on the powder room door. Frank calls out, "Come into the other room. There's a fire there." Before Helen can respond, the door bursts open, and a dark figure looms over the room, casting a long shadow. A servant, frozen in terror, bows his head to the ground as the figure strides past. Helen, her eyes widening with a strange recognition, cautiously steps out of the powder room. Helen stands face to face with Ardith Bey. Her eyes meet his with a sense of recognition. In a vision, Helen and Ardith Bey face one another. They are both clad in ancient Egyptian garb. Helen gasps, her eyes wide with shock. "I know you." Ardith Bey echoes her words, his voice filled with ancient longing. "I know you." Helen's second voice speaks softly. "Imhotep, I see your soul in this ruined body. Do you know me?" Ardith Bey reaches out to cup her face, his eyes shining with love and recognition. "Anki Zen Amun, my love, you have returned to me. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.